AI's efficiency can make us overlook its risks. And that's what I want to focus on today. The issue is we can get so caught up on how good and efficient AI is that we don't pause to consider what's happening under the surface. AI is not neutral. If you didn't know that, let this be your wake-up call. It is not neutral. It's only as good as the information it has been fed. And if that information is biased, then the AI will reflect that bias.
We are represented. We are represented. We are represented.
Welcome to Represented, the podcast. I'm Aniki Shuru, racial equity coach for online business owners who want to be intentionally inclusive by building a business that is racially equitable. I created this podcast to normalize a conversation around racial inclusion so that fear is no longer the barrier that gets in the way of doing this work. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Whether you're taking your first steps or you're well-versed in the journey towards racial equity, this space is for you. So welcome home, friend. Let's get started.
From coast to coast, around the globe, we are represented. We are represented. We are represented.
Hey, welcome back, welcome back. I am so glad you are tuned in. Last week's episode, oh my goodness, with the incredible Marie Beecham. That was a hit. Y'all liked this one. You liked this one. A fresh, nuanced take on anti-racism. And I just love Marie, her way of teaching, how she is able to put across concepts that perhaps things we've taken on board that we've believed to be the truth and just undoes them, and you're left at the starting line again going like, wait, hang on. So we have the option to look at things from a different perspective. Look, if you haven't listened to this episode yet, you need to press pause, go back and listen to that conversation because it is truly a wonderful, wonderful conversation. And in particular, what has stayed with me and what I've reflected on over the week as I've been sharing this episode on my social media platforms is the work and the impact of Robin DiAngelo, the author of White Fragility, and the impact of her work specifically on people of color, and the impact it had on Marie, the impact it's had on me now in reflection, and it's just such a powerful takeaway there, particularly if you're a student of mine or a client of mine, and I have, promoted Robin's work. And this is just a conversation you need to have in your ears. So press pause, go back. But if you've already listened and you're here, come on, Annie, let's take on a fresh week. Well, this is a conversation that I've been wanting to have for a little while now, but I just felt like I wasn't ready because AI, this week's topic, is something that I'm still very much in the trenches of learning about. And as we know, AI has become a major tool in online business. Whether you're a solopreneur, a coach, or running a large business, AI is making things easier and faster in so many ways. You're probably using it for content creation, social media management, streamlining your processes, brainstorming solutions, ideas, event planning, strategic planning and goal setting for your business, organizing yourself in terms of time management. And honestly, the list keeps growing and growing, and we could go on and on and on in the ways in which we can use AI. It has truly become an integral part of online business. It's helping us save time and focus on the things that matter most. But, and this is a big but, AI's efficiency can make us overlook its risks. And that's what I want to focus on today. The issue is we can get so caught up on how good and efficient AI is that we don't pause to consider what's happening under the surface. AI is not neutral. If you didn't know that, let this be your wake-up call. It is not neutral. It's only as good as the information it has been fed. And if that information is biased, then the AI will reflect that bias. And this is where things get complicated. AI is evolving so quickly, but so are the risks it carries, especially when it comes to race, gender, and representation. So for us as business owners, it's not just about what can AI do for us, but also what impact AI might have on the communities we serve. And that's what I want to dig into in this episode. AI is shared by people who create it, that we know. And that means it reflects their biases, their learning gaps, and their assumptions about the world. And for me, this isn't just theory, it's personally something that I've experienced. AI bias in, at the time of experiencing them, I didn't fully understand to know that it was AI bias. For example, I remember trying to use a fun filter on my phone, something really simple to just kind of play around with to enhance my features. Like probably you've done that too. You've gotten on your app on a phone, sorry, you've gotten on your phone on an app and you've tried to use a filter to see how it enhances. It could be some of the fun filters where it does different things. It's got like dog ears or it's got whiskers. It's got all sorts of things that come on and it's fun to do. But with this particular app that I was using, instead of seeing the effect on my face, I just got a big black circle. At the time, I didn't understand what it meant at first, just that it didn't work for me. But I knew it worked for others because I could see this is the app they were using to kind of enhance their features. But only later did I realize that the app's facial recognition technology, it wasn't designed to recognize darker skin tone. Then the other time I encountered AI bias was in my private Facebook group for my signature program, Represented. There was a woman whose posts kept getting flagged as spam. No matter how many times I manually approved her and assured Facebook that she was a legitimate member of the group, her introduction post wasn't visible to the rest of the group. Her contributions kept getting blocked. And here's the thing, it wasn't happening to others in the group. The only difference was perhaps that her name wasn't an English sounding name. And she's not the first to have come through my program with a name that wasn't English sounding. But for some reason, the the tool that identifies our names or whatever the case is kept flagging her as spam. And I just honestly, I can't wrap my head around that. And I'm sure it impacted her engagement, it impacted how she showed up, and it left her feeling a certain way. And then there's the discussions that I've had specifically with my Black clients who tell me that Zoom and Google Teams, when they're on there on camera, it struggles to capture their skin tones properly. So they find that they're fiddling around with different settings to try and enhance their features so that they can be seen, and the images appear unnaturally dark even in well-lit rooms, while they're looking at their white counterparts on the same call who appear naturally or rather natural looking in their complexion. And then there is photographs, taking photos, and oftentimes People with black skin will be darkened in a very unnatural way. Sometimes only seeing maybe the whites in our eyes or our teeth, but our faces are, unnaturally dark. And I'm left to wonder if AI is handling auto adjustments in these images, why is it failing to present us as we actually are? So, for the longest time, I thought these were just random technical issues. And a lot of times you don't pay too much attention because you're like, this is something that is above my level of knowledge. And so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. It's frustrating, but I hope somebody needs to fix this, right? And so it wasn't until I came across Dr. Joy Bulamwini's work, specifically her book Unmasking AI, that everything began to click. And I have to shout out Misty Johnson. Thank you so much for introducing me to Dr. Joy's work because it has really, really opened my way of looking at AI through that lens of how inclusive is it being. And so, if you haven't heard of Dr. Bulamwini, she's on a mission to protect what is human in a world of machines. And through her research, I first learned about the concept called the coded gaze. Now, she describes the coded gaze as the ways in which the priorities, preferences, and even prejudices of those who have the power to shape technology end up reinforcing discrimination and erasure. And when I look back at the ways AI has impacted me personally, I see the coded gaze at work. The app that fails to detect my face, that's AI trained on data sets that exclude people who look like me. The group member constantly flagged as spam, that's AI deciding whose voices get to be heard and whose don't. The distorted images on Zoom or in photographs, again, that's AI built on the assumption that white skin is the default. As you can see, my friend, AI isn't neutral. And if we don't actively question and challenge these biases, we are left with systems that at best fail to include us and at worst actively exclude us. And that's why this conversation is so important, especially for us business owners, because whether we realize it or not, we are using AI every single day. And if we don't understand how bias works in AI, we could be reinforcing harm without even knowing it. So, as you've heard in this episode, AI is powerful. It's changing the way we work, streamlining our businesses, and making so many tasks easier. Yay! But at the same time, there's so much we don't see, and that's exactly the problem. AI isn't just an abstract concept. No, it's not. It's happening right now in ways that shape how businesses operate, how clients engage with us, and even who gets to be seen and heard in the online space. And as business owners, we can't just ignore this. It's not enough to say, oh, that's how the technology works, because we are the ones using these tools in our businesses. We are the ones making decisions based on AI generated results. That means we have a responsibility to be informed, to be intentional, and to be ethical in how we use AI. I know it can feel overwhelming because honestly, a lot of us haven't thought about AI in this way. And that's why I've put together a brand new free resource called AI Bias. And it's a practical guide for coaches and course creators, in fact, online business owners. And this guide will help you to understand AI bias and how it might be showing up in the tools you already use. It'll help you identify potential harms that could impact your business and clients. It also gives you the opportunity to begin to take the steps towards ethical AI use. So you're making informed decisions, not just relying on AI without clear direction. Being an ethical business owner means paying attention not just to what makes our lives easier, but also to how our choices impact others. So, if you're ready to equip yourself with knowledge and start using AI more responsibly, head over to the show notes and download your free copy of the AI Bias Guide. And that's it for today, my friend. Take care.
We are represented. We are represented. We are represented.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button and leave a review so this podcast can reach more online business owners, and together we can begin to normalize racial inclusion in the online coaching space. I'd love to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land where this podcast episode was recorded, the Wiradjuri people in central New South Wales, Australia. Music produced in Nairobi, Kenya by Patrick St. P. Mbaru and Kambua Mathu. Vocals by Joanne Matata.
Represented.